and welcome to the first episode of the Power Widgets Deep Dive Show. Today, I'm super excited to welcome onto the show Jonas Rapp. Hi, Jonas. How are you?
Hi, Paris. Well, it's great over here in the north Sweden. It's great.
Thank you for sparing the time to come and talk to us today. It's an honor to have you on the show and to be speaking to you. I mean, I feel slightly stupid for asking this question because I think the whole world probably knows you by now already anyway. But for the sake of formality, if you'd like to tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, and what you do, please, as an introduction.
Well, I don't really know what I'm gonna do when I'm grown up. So, well, anyway, I started when I was 25 or so. So I was a consultant, which is not a fun thing, but I've never been able to leave that. So I'm still a consultant and working with the other technology for many years. And then, so 20,000, no, 20, no, 2009, what I'm saying. That year, I was starting to work in the Dynamics CRM area. And since then, well, I'm stuck in that area. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm a I'm a developer. That's easy to say what I'm actually doing. Yeah, probably they have some other roles for me. I'm a architecture solution and those fancy words, but yeah, I'm a developer. Okay.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jonas. So the main topic of the show today is your FetchXML Builder tool for the XrmToolBox. Before we jump into a full demo of it, could you give us a brief description of what it is, what inspired you to create it and share it with the community, and your journey in terms of building it and publishing it, getting it to where it is today?
Yeah. Well, in 2009, when I started work in this area, we needed help. We needed tools, and there was sort of the god of the tools is like the stunware that we were using then. We were using it for CRM 4.0 and maybe CRM 2011. Then after that, well, they had needed to go to another sort of type of how you're creating the code, and that's not updated anymore because the one who created it just made, moved into other areas. So then was a big void for some of the tools. I know that, of course, we have also used Tanguy Toussaint's tools available, and then in 2012, that's when he started to put it all into some toolbox, the XrmToolBox. So it sort of gets us start thinking about, okay, maybe if we, since I've always liked to, I've always been lazy. I don't want to do things in a hard way when I can do it in an easy way instead. So then there was using that XrmToolBox is great because then we don't need to handle with how we should connect to your environment and so on, and all of those things around the tool. So we can just focus on the actual what the features are and and of course the UI and so on. But so I like that area and that platform we're using. So then after the stunware, I needed something to make it easier to create queries. And queries of course, in this type of technology area, we need to create FetchXML. What is that? Why aren't they just using SQL? We don't know, but we're stuck in that. And I know, like, was like 5 years ago or so when I was at some other conference and met some people from up there at Microsoft. They're saying that, yeah, well, FetchXML is going out. We're going to make everything be able to do through SQL Server. Well, it didn't happen yet. So we still need the FetchXML. And yeah, I think that's the way I've created tools. But it's also, why should I create tools? Like I said, I am lazy. It's funny to sit in the evening and getting on tools that will make it easier for me, for myself, basically for myself, and probably some colleagues of mine as well. But I do it for me. And then when I see that I wouldn't survive without this, I might think, yeah, that might be the same for other people's as well. And why not be sharing and caring? I don't know. So like, of course, I like to share it instead of just. I mean, there are other companies that are mere. They want to don't share anything because a competition area. We should sort of fight out there. I like more to hug people than to fight with other people. So, well, I like to share, and of course, I also need to find an employer that understand the same thing, and currently I definitely have it, and so it's easy for me just to do it. Because of course I'm not doing it on my work day. I'm doing it in the evening or weekend and so on. But it's a good situation I have now.
Brilliant. That's a really good story. Thank you, Jonas. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to you to take over the screen share and show us the magic behind the FetchXML Builder. If you could focus on starting, I guess, from the basic features and slowly building up to the more advanced, or perhaps even the more recent features you've added to it and the intended target use cases, please. FetchXML
Yes,
Builder.
okay, I'll do that. And just to start with, let's just do some intro into what is FetchXML Builder. Well, you probably recognize this image you see here. So start very much from the basic, and maybe it's just silly for most of you to see since you already used this tool and so on. But just start here. Well, I have on the left side we have the query builder. So this is where we create it instead of you using the notepad and writing our FetchXML manually. So this is where we can do it with an UI. So it says there's a fetch. This is just the basic of the query, and there are a lot of properties here that you can add to the fetch. And that is growing and growing over time, since I mean Microsoft are still improving the fetch XML queries and how we can use it and so on. Won't go into all these details, but there are a lot of properties to set on the fetch. Next level is, of course, an entity. It says there within quotes there, entity. I have to enter one. This is just an error message as well. It is required. I have to give something. And here I can see there's, of course, as normal, there's a crazy big list of tables. Is it called tables or entities? I'm still keeping it at calling it entity, since I mean it's from the core of the FetchXML. It's called entity, but it's the same as table. Anyway, so what I do here is I can just, and now I'm also typing on the keyboard. You can't see that, but I'm starting writing contact. You see it, we'll find it here. So I can select that one, and let's just run it. So there's a button in the top here in the menu that says execute F5. Usually I never click on that. I use F5. Do it yourself. So doing that, let's see if I have some contacts here. Yeah, I do. And there's a gazillion of attributes, fields, columns. Well, there are 3 different words, means the same things. The attributes are here. So when you haven't add any attributes, it will just by default return everything. There's actually, you could actually say that don't add this and that attribute, but you can say all attributes. Never do that because it will just break that down because of performance. So anyway, for the table I've selected here, I can select some columns, attributes. Either I do this one by one, can add something, and we see there are a lot of these. And then I start writing a full name. Now it's slow. Here we go. Sometimes it's slow. Why? I don't know. Okay, so now I'll say just give me the full names, and we see it's now shown in the result of it as well. You see, this is just gray because as soon as you enter anything on the query, it will be gray. So you know that, okay, you can see the info here, but that's not exactly from the query you now have. So then I was so close to click on the F5, but let me click on the button instead. So here we see now, for real, these are the contacts I have and the first names. We can also see to add these columns, we can also go to select attributes. Then we can select from them all and have more info here. And we have this same list, but you can sort of filter it. If I here write city, I can see, oh, I have 3 attributes called something including city. So I can add that and then remove this, and we can set the parent. And we see here a searching for a parent. There isn't here, but it's found in the logical name. The logical name is not what they are showing to you, but it's what's behind in the dataverse, in the database. So, okay, I can add that as well. So, and now you see here, it's gray because since I've now added a few more attributes, run it again, and then I see the company and the city. Quite simple, this. But I mean, this is just getting all. Do we want to see all of those? No, then we should probably filter in some sort of case.
Yeah.
What should we do?
So sorry to interrupt, Jonas. So
Yeah.
this is driven by the metadata in the system, right? For the environment that you're connected to. So if there's
Yeah,
any
exactly.
custom tables or custom attributes in there, those will be retrievable as well.
Yes, exactly. So,
yeah.
I mean, when you get all which entities, tables I have, and which attribute columns, then it is from the metadata from the environment I'm connected to. And actually, when we're just starting FetchXML Builder and you have a connection set, it may take 3 to 30 seconds, not minutes, sorry, but seconds it can take because it's loading all the metadata so that when that's loaded, then you can work a lot faster and it's very good to have all the metadata there. Okay, going on about filtering, let me only show those who actually have a company. There are those that don't have, like Anders Rapp, that's my dad. He is now, of course, retired, so there's no company. So let me just add something. No, that's not the one. Company. I'm looking for company name, customer. And that it should be equal to NASA, but that's not it. Then we can select correct operator. So when we're something happened. Did I lost the screen?
No, I can still see it.
Do you see that I'm moving?
No, it's frozen. It has frozen.
Yeah. It looks like it isn't sharing the screen now.
It's frozen, it's not moving, so you might want to stop sharing and reshare.
Okay, there will have to be a bit of editing in this recording. Now it looks like XrmToolBox is dead now. Or my whole computer is crazy. Do you see anything now?
I can see it moving now, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just killing a lot of programs.
Okay.
So my shouldn't be this hard. Okay, let's try again. Where was it? Yeah, let me just see. Yeah, now I have contact there. Okay. Okay, so the filter here, we can set that now it's equal to NASA, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for something other type of filter. So what I can do then is say that it's not null, since I have something there. And then there's nothing more to do, and then execute it again. Then we see that now I only get the contacts that have a company. Very simple type of filtering. We will go to more advanced in the future as well. Well, so now we can see how to actually create your queries. And this is a lot easier than doing it manually. I think so, at least. Since, I mean, it has to be supports XML, that has to be correct, and they had to be correct all the small details here and there. But since we also want to learn every day, every time, so that's why we go to, okay, let me show the FetchXML. That's like the raw. So it's actually quite good to have that, I think, because then we can learn by our development. So like if I take this filter condition, then I can said I always use this, go back and forth to comment it out, comment it back as well. When I'm testing, when I'm working there, trying to find how should I actually create the query and so on, using that. So when I've done that, we can also directly see in the FetchXML can see what it looks out. And then I do this, and here we see also I have these shortcuts. I always do Control K, Control U, and so on instead of clicking. But now only for you, I'm clicking.
Yeah. So this is a really good feature actually, because sometimes you find that when you're joining tables, doing queries across joins, sometimes the results that you expect are not there. So you can really work out which link entities are causing a problem for your, your expected results not being returned. So that's quite cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen my own colleagues as well. They're like, it doesn't really work. I should remove all these large link entities to other table and so on, and they want to remove that, and then they delete it. Oh, that's stupid. How would you get it back? I have to do it manually. Well, do a comment it out instead. That's so much easier. And then you can sort of, you're working through the query you're working on and to get more and more advanced there. But actually, we can also do this. If we're looking in the FetchXML, we see currently usually I have this to live update query, which means it goes in both ways. So if I'm editing things here, then it will be added to the query builder here on the left side. So now instead of checking that it's not null, I will just remove this and say now it's null, and it's updated. So it's updated like half a second after you stopped writing in the FetchXML, then it will be updated in the left side. And since we edited this has now been grayish. So now then we can execute it again, and we see, okay, these are all contacts that doesn't have any contact. We can also do.
Sorry, in that XML editor, you've got IntelliSensibility as well in there, right? So
it is actually that, and that's been added by Mark Carrington, who added this, and that's quite awesome. So you should probably be able to, when right here. Oops. Now it did something else. Well, anyway, so you can actually get it to what could I add here after this. So here to add something else under filter, I should add currently if I remove the live update, then I can be writing more slowly. Contain a condition, it's there, select that. And then I could add, the attribute and so on. So then you get a lot of help with that as well.
Very cool. Very nice.
Yeah. Let me just go back to this operation. Well, actually, we can now do to check for that the company is equal to something. And if you know the GUID, which is probably not, then we can add it here. But we can also use a lookup. So now it will look up to this record and so on. So here And I hope you're seeing this lookup. Do you do that?
Yeah,
Yeah, good. Then I can say, yeah, show me all that are working at NASA. I do like this, and we see here for the FetchXML, it's added the GUID there, but then also added a few more things, the same way as is done in Dynamics CRM or whatever. So we can run this, and we see those are working at NASA. And well, there are a lot more things to do here. This is only for lookup. So here we don't have many type of operator, but let me add another one. This is a very small thing that I'm going to show you, because since this is a hierarchic thing with the queries here, and if I'm starting on a filter, then you can say add under this one, you can add a condition and a few more things. But it's also like, well, then you've added a condition, then you want to add more. Then you have this with the first one next to left, it has a plus and then the same type of node. So we don't have to, it used to be, then I created this, then I need to go back to filter, and then I can create a new condition. It's a small thing, but it'll save 2 clicks for you every time. I just love that.
Yeah, that's
What's
brilliant.
Great feature that I created. Well, let me show you something more. If we take something like a city, then we have a bunch more types of operator. So it begins with, it does not begin with, and so on. So there are more there, depending on which type of the attribute you have the filtering on. If we have something that is with a number, where do we get that? Double. And we have greater than, lower than, lesser than, and so on. So you see, there are different types of operator in the filter. Exactly the same as it is in the UI in the Power Platform as well. And I was very close to just clicking on the delete button. I will instead do this with my mouse and delete this one that I was starting to do. Okay, so now we know a little bit about how to build your queries. Why do we create queries? I do it in a lot of different scenarios. One, just to find the data, because I need to see all the contacts that are not that have a company, and that's kind of, this looks wrong. It says not null NASA. That is probably a bug there. I will fix that one day if I ever remember that it is a problem. Doing this instead, now it looks the way it should. Anyway, so yeah, I do this to see, yeah, let me just see all the contacts that have a company. I also do it when we are using this to actually do it in development. If we go, it's a bit more deeper here, but if looking at this, I can say, so I can convert this FetchXML to another type of query. Could be OData, which is used by many different things. And we can see here in the bottom, here I have this, the URL. Well, this is my Dataverse, and then some API data, blah, 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 and it's contacts. And well, it's the same query. I can just click it, and then you'll get the response in the UI, or in the web browser. I can also, I could right click and set copy it, so then I can use it for some other ways of how I would use it. I could also do the get me SQL, and that's probably depending on your settings, if we should actually be using the SCD for SQL. I think that's the name, which is, then you could just go and it's integrated to that tool. In this case, we just get a SQL query here. And what I'm using most when I'm doing development, I'm getting it to C#. this is something that I'm using when I'm creating plugins or when I'm creating some integration or whatever. Then I can use this I create the query here, and then okay, let me just copy this and paste it into my code. And this is done now. This is a very simple query, but you can see that there are different types of it. I can do it in line by line or a object initializer, I think it's called, where we create it like this. So we create the query, and then we inline we're adding the columns we're adding and add the filter and so on. We could add the comments and so on to make it easier to understand when you're actually learning about these queries and so on. And we can add the filter. I don't have any filter with variables here either. So this is a very simple. This is just with it's using the string of the entity names and of the attributes names and so on. But you can also use it with some other flavors of this. If I use EBG, is early bound generator by Daryl bar, and then we can get like this. There's more control that the code will be correct, because if we're using just the strings, well, then we can write this, and oops, I did put on the keyboard, and then everything breaks up. We don't want that. So there are a few different ways of this here where we can show me, oh, this is my low code generator that I created. So it's small differences here, but it works. And actually we use the LCG, late constant generator. We can have these settings as well. And then we can get the settings from the late bound contents generator, that tool. Just a small thing to show you here how to use this. Actually, especially when you're using this inlined, then I like the intent. Usually 3 is good, what you want to need, but otherwise, if you just paste it into your code, this is very fringy areas, but then it will be like that, and then the rest will be here. And that looks bad. I want it to be, for my eyes, I want the code to look good, and so on. Anyway, that's all. What more can we do? Yeah, we can do it in JavaScript, and that's just very simple, but you can just copy this, paste it as well into your JavaScript. Otherwise, well, no one is using JavaScript now, right? We're using TypeScript. Yes, we are. Sorry. And well, I think that's probably the most popular convert we have right now is the Power Automate parameters. And again, I hope you can see this, where we can say, yeah, where you can set, and these should be what these are called in when you're doing the Power Automate. So we can just copy this, and we can actually just click on that. And now it's copied that, is just paste it into the correct field in the Power Automate. And we can click on that, now that's copied, and so on. If you have a really advanced query, then it might not be possible to use these with the different parameters to the Power Automate step. Then you can just get all the FetchXML. You can always enter both in the Power Automate. Don't do that. You should even choose either using the FetchXML or the other ones. That's all. So while use it, do it. It makes you save so much time. And actually your boss as well, and the customers of you, everyone is aiming on take less time to develop it for you. They're a bit more, I think this is more like a preview version, and it seemed it didn't work. Okay, it will be there, because since you can use FetchXML to ask it through Power Platform CLI, you can do it like in the command line. This is what you can convert to. Let me just go more through the menu here as well. So start here on the left, new, create a new one. Oh, and now the tool is dying a bit.
Yes, it's
It's
frozen again.
probably since I selected that for CLI. Okay, let me just go back. Okay, let me just show you a bit more at the menu here. What do we have? New. Well, just click on it. By default, it will create a new query within a new tool instance. So from there, but you can also do this new in the same, then it just take away all we have there right now and creating a new tab. The tab that's like the different instances of the tools you have. You can also clone it to a new tab and clone it so you get this query. And this one actually the Control Alt Q. I'm using that quite often since I'm asking this, I'm doing a query here, looking at the result here, and then well I want to see it. How does it work in the test or prod environment? Then I will just connect to those, get the same query, and then I can just run it. Open. What should I open? What can I open? Well, this is a file on your disk. It should be an XML file with basically has this information. Open a view. That's used to get it from the Power Platform to show you which views do I have there, both the system views for that everyone can see and also only my personal views. And this, well, the first time it takes a bit time to get it up there, but yeah, this is so I can see I can select by from which table entity and which views are available there. And this one seems pretty advanced, but yeah, let's get that. And then I have
Sorry,
all.
Jonas, your screen's frozen again. You
Oh,
need to stop sharing, resharing.
yeah, okay. Did you know when it was frozen?
When you were showing the pack CLI option.
Oh, then I'll start over from that.
Sorry, I should have said earlier.
Oh, let me just go back here. Okay, let me show you a bit more in the menu here. We have a new, we'll only start a new instance of the tool and with no query there. And you can do a bit more other types of it. You can add it with a new connection and a new tab. But what I like is to clone it. So the cloning with a new connection, that's very good to have when I'm testing this query and to look at the results in the test environment. Then I can just doing this to get a new, it asks you for who do you want to connect to. Then you can test it in the same query in another environment. So that's great. Well, in some cases in your scenarios. Under open, well, then you can get the open a file. It's just an XML file that should looks just like the FetchXML. And you have the open a view. Well, it gets the views that are available in the Power Platform. So it could be system views and also the personal views as well. And we can see first we can select with entity table, and then we can select which entity we should return as well. As you can see here, it says system views, and then we have personal views. So there are different types there. We say this one is pretty advanced, so I'll just get that to, and that it is updated in the query view, query builder, and also in the FetchXML. And we can run it, of course. And okay, that's very interesting. Thank you. The data we see there. Anyway. Now, since we're talking about the menu here, and I have changed it with which query I have. We see this undo, redo. I can undo. I can go back to the queries, the earlier query I had, And if I am doing something else here, and say that we add something, blah, blah, and I can execute that, and I say, oh, now I get no result. That's bad. So then I can also go undo. So do it step by step here. Up, there we are. And the redo. And now I can ask the query again. Regarding now that I was executing it again, and we say what's down here that's only shows the city. Where are the other columns? Well, that is a bug that I'm hating that because it doesn't really work the way I want it. I thought it was better for this latest version that's out now, but well, still more work for me to do there just to make sure always show the attributes I've added in the query. What I can do is, of course, show all. Well, then they get back, and I can also from down here in under the column, sort of a menu in the bottom, I can also auto size all columns. Then they know everything will be shown there and so on. So these are also good to use. Going back to the menu here, we have under save. Well, of course, you can save the file, but we can also save this as a new view. So I can save this view, which is a very interesting view to have. And then I get to answer this. It should including the primary ID. So this is a query for contact. I should also add contact ID. Well, yes, I should do that, but I don't care right now.
So if you're saving this as a system view, you probably only want to do that in a development environment, right? Because that's going to be an unmanaged change.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. Don't do it in your prod environment or so.
Yeah.
Do it. It's good to have this if you're doing more advanced views. Do it here in FetchXML Builder, but do it in dev environment, of course.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you are just working on your own views, totally okay to do it in the production environment, but do them as a personal view.
Yeah.
And in this next question here, we get asked, well, say yes if it is a system view, otherwise say no to be a personal view, and that's probably good. And then I should add a name, contact, blah, blah. That's my view. And then it's saved. And there's an error. Wow. That happens now and then. What's about this error? I don't know. Well, we could look here and show the details. That's interesting. And then it's going to say, well, I did something wrong. It's my fault. Okay, never just close it. But if there's something, this error shouldn't appear here, then click the create issue. Then I'm giving something for this tool so you can use it. Please help me back and just create the issues, the error messages, so I can see that, look at it and say, this doesn't look good. And in this case, well, during this recording, I'm going to look into the error, but do this. Click the create issue, please. Thank you. Anyway, I have next one is repository. What's that? Well, you actually have to go to the option settings to actually enable this. Well, this is something where it's easy just to store this query and get it back very easily. So it's stored. Don't care about that. Well, on the disk, but don't care. I'm handling it. So you don't have to sort of open it and find in which folder do I have these and where should I store it and stuff. Don't care about that. So we can just, when we've done this, I can just save this, save current query. And then this is not saved in the view as the other, but it's just saved in the repository. That's the best name I found for this feature. Undo, redo, execute, not so hard to understand. This stop, abort. Well, if you are getting a lot of data or it is a very complex query, well, it may take time, then you can click this abort if you need. This is another tool, bulk data updater. Why is that there? Well, to me, it's almost that when I'm looking at these, I say, there are a lot of all NASA, they having the wrong name. Then I can just go to bulk data updater, I get all the data, and I can just, okay, select these NASA, and then I can set what kind of company it should be connected to. Not go into that. That's for another.
It's one of my favorite features, actually. I'm forever using this to kind of do data fixes and stuff in my non-development and non-production environments when you introduce new fields and stuff. So it's really handy, that one.
Yeah, I just agree. I love it too. Since, I mean, lately we've been working a lot of time with the migration. And migration is done and it takes time. And then when you see, what's wrong? But it was wrong in a really small places. Then we can just fix it here and then it's done. Share, well, that's sort of that's not so much used, but you can do it. So we can actually add this URL and someone else can just click on it and it would be open in a FetchXML Builder at the AR. Actually, I've seen that in Level Up, that feature, everyone knows about that extension to Chrome and Edge at least. Well, you can actually do this type of share from a view when you're looking at it. I learned that when I was down in Dynamics Minds this week it was. Yeah. Convert, we have been looking at that before, and then we have the views. We have opened the FetchXML, it's there, and we can also looking at the metadata, so we can see more details about that. And it doesn't show up. Okay, it should. You should test it. You should try it. And we can also, when we go more advanced, then we can see the actual layout XML because of how is this result looking out right now. So we see here, it's XML that also, but let's not go into the details here. Under options, we have settings. That's, of course, the most important here. There are a few different tabs, and there are a lot of small things to add here and there. Like this one, I've added the shortcuts also for those things you need to do it often. The Control F, that's very common. Currently, with this is showing everything in friendly names. That's also the best name I found, friendly names. If this is unchecked, then we can just do this, and then we see it will show the actual. It is more similar to the actual FetchXML. And if I now do a Control F, it just go back and forth. You didn't see it, but I did it. There are a lot more small things here, and how it should be laid out, and which buttons should be shown, and so on, and how the behavior, how should it work, and what kind of warnings do you want, and so on, in these small warning and error messages, and so on. The result, this is the result. Well, that's a very core to use the view. You can also get to actually got the raw result. So that is, it's currently, or not currently, nowadays it is not supported. I mean, it's been deprecated, but that's available to see how we get it back as XML or so. But I mean, the view is most common to use. We can check this to retrieve all pages. And usually pages are 5,000 records. If you want to get everything back, so you'll get 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, so on, and you're waiting, you have this one checked in. And well, a bit more there, default. This is very important to show the colors of the FetchXML. And under advanced, that's like on how should it actually load all metadata which are stored in a cache by the XrmToolBox, not created by my tool, but it's created by the XrmToolBox. And there is some checkbox if we should wait to start working until everything is loaded and so on. And it is a beta, but I think that's just working fine, where you can say, okay, now I know I've added new table, I've added more attributes and so on. And I have a very advanced query here, so I don't want it to just start over and you have to close the whole XrmToolBox and open it again to get all the latest metadata. So then we can just do this, and it will. There's a warning. Shall we do that? Because, well, it could take a few seconds or so. 10 to 300. I don't know if that's correct, but anyway. So as you can see now, this is when it's loading the metadata. Why it does take so much time? No idea for me. It's there. So we can continue also. This is also a bit more fringe features to filter by solutions and metadata. So then I can say, well, currently I'm only working with something in my Rapp space. Okay, then I'll only see those entities and the attributes of those entities. I can also do is only show those from me, Jonas, and so on. I can do that in different ways. And I can also do only show entities that are in unmanaged solutions. And then there are a lot of more details here about which should I show, which shouldn't I show, and so on. And by default, I think it's this setting where I have all solutions. And if you add this, the filter by metadata, it will only exclude the not logical. If you want to know about that, well, click on one of all these links here. And again, we're back to, we can use it to do things that you don't need to know, but you can learn from it as well. That's why I've added a lot of these links here. So it should make you learn more and more. I think that's all here, and then you can buy me coffee. I like coffee. I have to take some coffee.
It's a brilliant feature, that one.
And then this is a link just to the start place in the Microsoft Learn about the FetchXML, and this is just about this tool, and we get up this here and some links there so you can know how to contact me and so on, and go to the home page, and we can go to show the release notes to see, what was new in the latest version. I just click continue first time, but I can get back there as well, so I can read about the release notes.
That's brilliant. I think most of the developers out there, me in particular, they're quite lazy with documentation. We don't enjoy documentation, but you've got an entire website dedicated to this tool, so that's something amazing in its own right, I think.
Yeah, and I love to I truly hate to document, but I mean, since there are a few people out there using this, then well, it may be good to add some documentation about this. I know the documentation gets old quite fast. That's too bad, but yeah, the documentation is there, and if you have any opinions to it, if this is old or we're missing this, I'd love to read about how we should actually use it. Then I'll try to add it. Well, this is summer, soon vacation, and so maybe that's when you're going into the sitting on my patio and doing things. I might document them, if you ask me.
Yeah, brilliant.
So I guess this is like sort of a intro to this tool, and there are a gazillion more features.
No, I really appreciate that, Jonas. I mean, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking every time I open this tool and look at it, I'm discovering a new little nugget in there somewhere which I hadn't known about previously. So it's it's very, very comprehensive, very powerful, a lot of features in there to cover. And it's a testament to your efforts that's gone into this tool. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I know this area, the technology area, it's moving all the time, and we think like, we know FetchXML is there. It's been there since even before I started working in this area. it's there forever, and everyone's thinking that's just it's very stale. It's still nothing does happen, but it does. And actually, for this year, the last release, there are a lot of new features available. It's like one thing. Actually, I'm going to start showing it. I have something unsupported in my repository because I created a cool query that works, and that will just let me just it will get the contact where and did some filter there, so I can filter by the postal code should be the same as the contacts accounts postal code. So it takes this a dot is since I had the alias on the link entity account is a. So okay, then it should look for this attribute value should be the same as for the account, which is linked to it. So, wow, it works. I was so glad. So that's what was here under unsupported. And today it is support. So it was like a week after, then I got an email from Jim Daly at Microsoft who was saying, hey, look, could you look at the documentation? Well, the documentation that's on this link, this button. What I think if I have anything more to add and so on. And I was reading this. Oh, if it works. It's supported. So okay, it should be able to. So this is when I implemented this also, so that when I'm looking for the zip code on this contact, I can make sure it's the same as from the A. Of course, the account is the same one. So in this one, I can say, no, let's do something else. And then I will never get any result, of course. But it's there. And using that is awesome. And there are so many people who said, woohoo, just that you can do this now.
Yeah, brilliant. So that's a fairly recent feature, right? Which has come into the syntax or the schema of FetchXML quite recently. So how do you typically go about making your tool continuously compatible with these sorts of changes that are coming from Microsoft?
Mostly because I don't want to learn things. Well, of course I want to learn things, but that's not the reason. But since when we can do this filter, but because I needed it. And when I was working before, I know it was supported, and I was just testing back and forth. Where should I put the a dot and so on? Is it possible? And to find it. So, and this is something I'm using. This feature. I mean, this really small feature. I'm using that, and that's why I also update the tool. I could do it just for myself, but that's boring. So instead, I did it for this tool that I've published. So
actually in this example, you actually made this change to your tool before Microsoft even released it, right? Because it was unsupported at that time.
No,
at the time.
I didn't. I never released it, so I didn't do that. But I needed to make this type of query. So and that's why I stored it here in my repository. So I know, okay, we can do it in this way. And I was using it mainly. I was using it in bulk data updater when I needed to fix some data there because this guy should be living in the same city as the company. In that case, we could do things. So but there are some more features. I have to show one more at least. I'm sorry, takes time, but we can now add under the filter. We can add a link entity that was not supported before. I never used it. I never tried even before, but I can have a link entity. So okay, let's say if it's what should we do? We can look for. I need to find something through. I need to connect it to Rocket. Anyway, let me just put something to the user. And then I can say that, okay, show these contacts who have or haven't any relationship to a user. Okay, should get contacts with any any user that has, let's say, add a filter under that link entity, say that filter full name should be begins with Jonas. So the query here, it wasn't existing. It's been in, and this is exactly one point where we're saying, why can't we just use SQL? Because in SQL, that's advanced. It can do a lot of things, but we couldn't. We have, so it's like we're stuck in a black box that is very small, and now it's getting bigger. So I don't know about the result here. Actually, if there's some no hit here, but so we can say this. Doing this, I've already been using this. So only get contacts with something from the user, and we can have like there are some different we can use here. If we're doing this, it would say, well, the filter should be in OR. That's one thing, and also that inner is not possible in this case when it's a link entity under a filter. So there are cool things we can you can use here. Start to see the imagination. How could we use it, and when should we use it? Well, you can create a view that's actually using these real advanced queries, and those cannot be added in the UI where we are creating views. In that case is when we use FetchXML Builder to create views with these really advanced queries.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's really, really handy. So just coming up to the later questions, Jonas. So given that Dataverse makes up the backbone of many applications that people are building out there, and in fact, even the Power Platform itself, there's some system tables in Dataverse that the platform uses. I'd say, being able to construct a FetchXML query that's robust and troubleshoot it is quite an important skill. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I probably agree. Yes, but I mean, too often times I just get back to why FetchXML? Why not SQL? Because I mean, then it's supported by so many more people, so many of our developers as well. Just to use SQL or maybe some other type, but it's like I like it when we stick to one technology. And then I have to go back to also the PowerFX. Why do they create a brand new language? Why is that? Well, it's not brand new. It's sort of from Excel. It's like we're developers. We create things, so we want. But yeah, I know Microsoft want no developers to be sort of developers. So that's why they're creating a new language. And I mean, the FetchXML, it was created, I don't know at which year, which century it was created, but it's a very much fringe just for this Dataverse. So it could be done better, but I mean, for me, it's fun because now I can be sitting here recording this chat we have since FetchXML is needed.
Yeah, of course, brilliant. Appreciate that. So just to help the viewers understand the impact of this tool, because as I say, FetchXML is like the backbone of Dataverse in terms of getting data in and out. Could you give us some examples of scenarios in the platform, whether that's for development support or design or maintenance, where FetchXML can be used and how powerful this tool really is?
Are you thinking about FetchXML or the tool FetchXML Builder?
FetchXML Builder, because I mean to get data in and out of Dataverse, you're using FetchXML, but there's so many different scenarios across the platform where it becomes useful. So we're building potentially FetchXML based reports. You're doing like deduplication rules, data deduplication rules, and things like that. So there's so many different examples like that. Have you come across any kind of obscure or strange scenarios where people have used the tool?
It's like, I mean, from my own experience, that I'm using it, well, a lot of different tools that are open source tools, because it makes our life so easier. And there are a lot of, I mean, since if I should say when I use it, well, then it will take another recording on this, because there are a lot of, and use it in so many different ways. But just to be short, well, the first is, of course, just to get data. I could do it probably in the normal UI, but since I have this tool, and then I can make sure that I can get exactly the fields I want to show and the with type of filter, just to show the data and say, this is strange. What does it say? A, it should be say 2, and so on. So that's one. And also, since I'm a developer, I've been lately I've been creating a lot of plugins, and plugins often need to get data from the Dataverse. I may have done it manually sometime, but it's so much easier just to get the C# code from my tool. And it sounds like I'm bragging a lot, but I mean, it's so glad that I have tools to use out there. So, and I know also to, when would you when do you use it? Putting the question back to you.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. There's so many different scenarios, right? So you could, as you say, in the querying, you could be doing it within a plugin or some script, or even Power Automate, or building reports, or even just fixing data within your environments after introducing a new field, for example, for existing records. There's so many different scenarios. So it's not just about the consultant or developer's view, but even support personnel and administrators of systems. It's the scope is just endless, right? There's so many different scenarios.
And I mean, currently, since a month or so, when advanced find was removed, and well, there's this new advanced find or whatever they're calling it now, but that will only show, you can only query tables that are in the app, in the model-driven app, which means even if you just wanted to show system users, that's not possible. So then where do we go then? Well, currently we only go to FetchXML Builder. So, well, maybe that's, for me, it's a very good thing, because now one will be gazillion of people using it. But yeah, but it's sort of kind of good idea, Microsoft, but why did you remove that? I mean, during sometimes you will want to be able to read all data you have available. Well, it should be available. So that's very common to use it.
Yeah, brilliant. Right. So so the basic concept of the FetchXML Builder is basically providing a user interface to be able to interactively build and test these queries, right? But as you've demonstrated in the demo today, it's going much further beyond that. You're taking the story a lot further with all of these subtle extra features. So how do you even think of these things? Are they coming from user feedback, or do you just think about the scenarios of how you're using it and design it like that?
Most, I mean, like 90% are from my ideas. How it can be even better. And usually it's not that I'm looking for, oh, I want to create a cool feature, but it's like, that's hard. I want it to be easier. And then I can add some features, some functionality in the tools as well. So I should probably have a very good, this is how I work, this is how I think. I have no idea. I just do what I think is fun to sort of develop and what is good to have, mainly for me. And like a few times it's been, okay, not just a few, bit more, but I get requests where you say, oh, this is working, but could it work in that way as well? And then I can add that. And there's one tool out there that was created only because Sarah Lagerquist asked it for me like years back. So I have one that was only almost bought, but didn't pay, of course, but that she asked for.
Brilliant. Thank you, Jonas. So one more question around, so we touched on the advanced find thing, that's been around in the Dynamics space for a very long time, and now in the model-driven apps as well, although it's, as you say, it's now limited in some respects. Why should someone use FetchXML Builder to construct a query over, advanced find that you get out of the box? You mentioned that some tables not being available in the current kind of model-driven app space, but there must be other reasons as well, right? The one reason I can think of top of my head, the advanced queries, like things like aggregate queries, you just can't do out of the box in the advanced finds experience.
Yep, totally. And I mean, we didn't talk about that, but aggregation, and that's another topic, but that's a big thing. And also, I mean, if you want to find data, I mean, just because you want to see what is it 1 or 2 or A or B, whatever, then to me it's faster to do it in FetchXML Builder than open a advanced find or whatever they're calling it now to go in and doing that. It's just basically it's faster for me since I know the tool. That's probably a reason as well.
No, I totally agree. I'm the same. FetchXML Builder is normally my default position to go to get data out. That's really cool.
Have you tagged that application on your what do you call it, taskbar?
XrmToolBox is my taskbar, but I need to put some shortcuts into the exact tools and the exact connections I need as well. But yeah, I'll get to that as well. So yeah, FetchXML Builder is open source on GitHub, right? So are you open to the people from the community making contributions? And how do they go about that? Is just a case of normally forking the repository and creating a pull request, or do you have a standardized approach?
Sometimes I get the pull request, but otherwise there's just usually they are nice. It's not like, hey, this isn't working, blah, fix it. So that it happens a few times over the years, but no, it's most that when I get there's something wrong or so, I get the issues. And I think since we added this new way of adding an issue on GitHub, then I actually get a little bit more info. So I added it at first for one of my tools, and then when I thought that's a good idea, so we added this into the platform of the XrmToolBox, so everyone can very easily say that if something breaks down, then you can add an issue like that. But yeah, get a few pull requests when someone's actually put some effort into it. And I mean, of course, the most is, of course, that I mentioned before, Mark Carrington, because he knows the SQL and he knows the OData, so he's helped me there a lot, and a few more. But I'm guessing you didn't ask the question why open source. I mean, since now I have a gazillion users. No, I don't, but like daily about 6,000 different users. But why open source? I should just retire and be very rich by selling this or something. Well, mostly to me, it's because, well, first I like to share. It's fun and also since how am I working on these tools? Well, it's not my work. I don't get paid for it, and I don't have any schema for like a calendar when I should do a release and so on. I will release a new version when it's done, when I've fixed enough issues and so on, which means then I have a lot more of relief in me that there is no pressure like that. So I like it. But like this email I got from Jim Daly this year, and he showed these new features. Well, then I got a bit pressure, since only because from me, and that I want this to get out there and to get this to work. But otherwise, because I'm just developing when I think it's fun. And also, since it's open source, there is some MIT license I think I have, or some other reason. Well, it will show you if someone was starting to be angry at me. Well, read this is open. Yes, do you have a problem? Fix it, I said. Give me a pull request if you're nice. So
Yeah.
you can share. So there's no responsibility for me.
Yeah.
And that I saw without that type of setup, I wouldn't do this.
Yeah.
It should be your joy. You're doing it because it's fun to do it.
100%. 100%. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Jonas. So, I mean, just closing off the last couple of questions, you've had some amazing engagement and adoption of this tool from the community. I mean, last time I looked, you had over 800,000 downloads in total since you started, according to the XrmToolBox stats at least. Did you have to do anything to promote the tool to this level to get this level of engagement or adoption? Or now, how do people find out about it? How did that
Well,
happen?
to start with, downloads is totally uninterested because since I have some other tool that has almost as much as that, but no one is using it probably because I released new versions with a lot of tempo, which means by default we get like 5,000 downloads. So if I release new versions every second week, then I get a lot of downloads. But what I'm thinking, since I have logging, my tools are logging so that I can see how much is used and so on. And a few people say that, hey, you shouldn't get my data, you shouldn't log, blah, blah, blah. Well, live with it. And it says, I want to know, and if I now see that, I know that I have about, as I said, 6,000 users using it every day. And my tool is running 15 or 20,000 days daily. And then it gives me some perspective. Okay, this one is not just some random tool, but it's used by people. So then I want to make sure that the tool works recently. I don't really understand why that's important for me and so on, but getting that feedback and getting feedback, which is not feedback, but just saying that they're actually using it. It's not just that it is installed somewhere or so on. So, yeah.
No, that really helps because getting that feedback, as you say, that is helping people and adding really real value to their scenarios. That's definitely means a lot.
Yeah, and
So, yeah.
sometimes we get feedback and we got they're doing rating in the XrmToolBox, and that's great to hear. But I mean, just the numbers, that's also feedback. Even though you don't do anything, but it's feedback for me to see that you are using it. Or I don't know, and just to be clear, I cannot see who is using it. I cannot see where you are. I can see probably down to in which city. Nothing else. Nothing. I don't. I could, of course, just rip out all the data. So if you do execute a query, then I can just show me all the data. Of course not. Why should I? That's just stupid. So that's not happening. So you can relax about that.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Last question, Jonas, before we wrap up. So you've been building this tool for many years and maintaining it and documenting and supporting it. Would you say it's reached a level of kind of maturity now, or do you have any future releases planned? Any upcoming features you could share with us?
Well, yeah, I've been, in November this year, we're getting into 10 years since it was released first time. So that's a big
Milestone,
statement.
right? Yeah.
But it's not just mature, and now it is still. Like I said, I had new release in April this year, and it continues. It can always be better, and you can always there are but a few bugs here and there, as you saw during this demo, and it's like whoops, error. But then also I get back also to this is open source. Well, there's someone out there who is trying to create this for us. I'm very happy. Well, that's me happy to myself. That's weird, but yeah, there are bugs to be fixes, and there's like I think the most of the when there's a new feature, it's like something, this is hard. Could we connect the data with something else, blah blah, whatever ideas I get. And most of these are just crap and we don't do it, but a few things come up now and then.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. So I'm assuming you kind of maintain some sort of backlog of ideas somewhere, right? In your brain, if not anywhere else.
Yeah, I think I
But
have like 50 open issues, and
yeah,
the issues are not just bugs, but
yeah,
most from myself are they are ideas.
yeah, yeah,
How this
brilliant.
could be better, easier to use it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you so much for spending the time with me today, Jonas, to speak about this tool. It's really amazing to be speaking with you and learning from you to talk about your tool. And I know you've got a number of additional tools out there as well, which we've not even mentioned or spoken about today. I'd
Only
love to have you.
15 other.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to have you on the show again in a future episode to talk about one of those if you're open to it. I've really enjoyed myself today, and I hope you have too. So, and I'm sure the viewers will really find this useful as well, and maybe hopefully take some inspiration from it as well to go away and build their own tools or make the existing tools even cooler. So, thank you so much for talking to us today.
It's so honor to be here.
Thank you, Jonas. Take care.
Thanks.